Celebrating 2009 to 2019.
10 years of the roar.
Times have changed, but we're still here.
And we're staying put.
Look what you made me do.
You didn't really think so, did you?
Are you ready for it?
If you're feeling low, just let yourself go.
I tried to forget about you, baby.
Broadcasting from the Buenaventura Garcia Paredes OP building.
Live and online from 9 to 5 via Mixler.com/USC Tiger Radio. No one gets left behind for the ride.
This is the station where you hear the roar.
This is USC Tiger Radio.
USC Tiger Radio, the only station where you hear the roar. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Before we continue, I would like to introduce our show today. First of all, it is called Spotlight. Now, Spotlight is a show where we talk about any form of literary form of art, such as film, theater, series, or anything that's trending. But before we dive into the meat of today's topic, allow me to introduce, or allow our jocks to introduce themselves. I am not the only jock you'll be hearing today. Now, Frey, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you for that, Luke. And along with Luke and I today, we have another beautiful intern jock with us. Care to introduce yourself?
Wow, another beautiful person telling me that I'm beautiful. But hey guys, this is intern Jock Luna, and today we have an exciting topic for you. Give it away, Luke.
We do. Now, before we continue, what do you guys know about Philippine theater? Frey.
So I personally don't have a lot of experience with acting in Philippine theater, but I do appreciate the craft and artistry that, of course, the actors and singers put into their work. It's just amazing to see. What about you, Luna?
Well, I actually agree with you, Frey. This is such an artistic piece, and it's a hidden gem, actually. But I'm really, really glad theater boomed last year, especially this one play that we're gonna talk about later on, that really made Filipino people, appreciate theater more. And it's not easily accessible before, but right now, I'm really glad that people have easier access, especially on YouTube.
Yes, absolutely wonderful input, guys. Thank you so much. But without further ado, moving on, our topic for today is Philippine musicals you should catch up on while in quarantine. Now, arguably, Philippine theater isn't necessarily the most popular in terms of media because we have TV shows, we have movies. However, the art of Philippine theater is still present, people. It is something that has been alive for a long time now. And I feel like, personally, I think it's one of the most underrated forms of art the Philippines have had to offer. Now, having been someone in the performing arts field, I think it's very interesting to always watch what other people do. And I feel like a lot of people should partake in. I had a director once who told me that every single person should take theater at least once in their life because there's a certain discipline that you can get from it. And I think there's very much, or it's an environment, it's an atmosphere, it's a community, and I think it's best experienced in person. Now, what do you have to say about that, Frey?
Well, personally, I've only had experience in that during junior high when we were asked to do those little classroom plays. Didn't you guys have experience in that? But what I can say about this is, of course, these shows, these musicals, these plays are really best appreciated live because that is when you see the whole production coming together, the effects in full swing with the lighting, the stage design, the costume, and of course with the other people watching with you. It's just a whole nother experience. And of course, this was given to us when the videos were posted on YouTube this pandemic, right, Luna?
Yes, I actually agree with you again, Frey. And actually, I agree with you telling me that the effects in full swing, the lighting, the stage design is really, really exciting because I've been an artist myself, especially in school plays, like you said, when I
Mhm.
was in junior high school. And it's really, really fun because you can see the reaction of the people. You have full control of what you will do next on stage. But of course, you're following a script. But you have this rush inside you that you want to continue acting for the audience. What do you think of that, Luke?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting because it's extremely exhilarating to be a part of this community, and it's pretty easy to get into even if you don't like get roles and stuff. There are always things available for people to stretch it out. But our topic today isn't necessarily how theater affected our lives. It is what musicals you would like to watch or what musicals you should catch up on during or maybe after the quarantine when you can see them live. All right. So now, Frey, would you like to read our listeners or what they have to say for today?
So, of course, we cannot forget our listeners here in Mixlar. To the 19 people here with us tonight, thank you so much for tuning in. And we will be giving a shout out to everyone later on. So, don't forget to sign in so we can say your names, of course. Now, Luna, with our socials.
For more updates and information about USD Tiger Radio, follow us on Instagram at USD Tiger Radio. On Twitter, we are Tiger Radio USD. On Facebook, we are USD Tiger Radio. And on Mixler, we are mixler.com/USD Tiger Radio. Please send us your hearts, you guys.
And currently it is 8:38 p.m. And we're going to be talking more about the musicals you may know.
All right. All right. So now hopping into the musicals that we may know, we have a couple listed for you a bit later, but we'll see you after the break.
Playing nothing but feel good music all day long.
USC Tiger Radio.
All right. That was a really quick break, but without further ado, Luna, would you like to get into the first few musicals we have?
Oh my gosh, you guys. This is exciting for me because I'm not a theater fan and I'm really excited for what's in store for us. So first, we have Mula sa Buwan. It says here that Mula sa Buwan is a prime example of how all artistic elements work together. Actually, I really like this play, look, kasi it's talking about catfishing stories about this guy named Cyrano or Cyrano. Correct me if I'm wrong. What do you think about this play?
It is, I think it's an extremely enthralling tale. It's something that has, I don't know, I've seen it live in Arete and Ateneo, and it stuck with me. Aside from the beautiful music sung by by the great performers, specifically I may cite out Gab. I am apologize for not knowing the full name, but I know his first name is Gab, who was also in another musical we're gonna list. But he has done an absolute great job as the main protagonist. Now there's definitely much more to dive in, but we're gonna move on to our next musical, which is Decada Sententa. Now, Decada is by no means a small musical. It has been adapted a couple of times by It was based on Lualhati Bautista, adapted into a movie, and is essentially about the Bartholomew family and how the times of the 1970s affected their life. Their five sons have traveled or have aspired to be different things, one being a writer, one just simply wants to serenade this beautiful girl, one wants to be a social activist. These are enthralling times, and ironically, the beauty of this musical is that it's extremely relevant today in terms of its themes, its political drama. It's very driven, and what do you call this? It is extremely layered. It's layered and grounded, and actually is a poignant reflection of how we talked of how politics are today. Now,
That's
Frey,
so
would you have?
beautiful.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Okay, Frail, let's have the stage for you.
So up next is Binondo, a Chinoy musical. And with that, we can only deduct that it is a Chinoy musical set in Manila's pre-martial law days. Now, it tells the tale of Lily, a Filipino nightclub singer, and Atyong, a mainland Chinese scholar, and an
Mhm.
unlikely pair to fall in love in tumultuous times because we did know how, the Filipinos and the Chinese then back then during that time it was kind of hard to have a relationship with a Filipino if you were a Chinese. I think so this is very exciting to see because we will see him vying for Lily's heart, another guy named Carlos, her childhood friend. So we have a love triangle going on in here, which we can see in another of our musicals that we will be talking about.
Okay,
So,
next. Yeah. Okay, next we have Ang Huling El Bimbo. It is actually a story of friendship told through the songs. Actually, guys, this is what we were talking about earlier in the introduction. Ang Huling El Bimbo really boomed in social media, and I'm really, really glad because it's high time that a lot of people would not only appreciate theater but also Pinoy rock music, OPM in general, because I've seen a lot of people going through Western songs, but there's nothing totally wrong with that. I just really like people who appreciate OPM, and I'm glad Ang Huling El Bimbo the musical helped Filipinos go through that field. What do you think about that, Luke?
Similar to the next musical we have on this Ang Huling El Bimbo was so poignant. It was there's a lot of discussion to be had, and it's also a great conversation starter for around the time when it came out. It was released on YouTube during the time of quarantine, and it was the perfect Pinoy theater break we all needed. And it was also super interesting to dive into the stories of our protagonists, both past and present. But now moving on to our next musical, it is a bit of a side note. I don't think a lot of people have seen this. However, I have, and I wanted to introduce it in this list. Eto na musical na po. It is a musical that my family has seen back in when it was still playing in BGC, and I also have a relative who was in there. So shout out to Ate Mika Javier. Thank you so much. Anyways, moving on. Eto na musical na po captures the cultural dichotomy perfectly in terms of nostalgia, in terms of joy. It is a story about seven young college kids on their first day back at school. It captures the youth of having no clue of what you're doing in case you're a college student or even a high school student. There's a lot of questioning, running around, and running after your loved ones. And I feel like it's something that speaks to the inner child of us most, or the inner confused young adult of us all. And even if you're a kid, it's also a good reflection of what you want to be. It's something that I saw with my little cousin who unfortunately did not get a lot of it, but he got, he was catchy. We were jamming to some good Apple Hiking Society songs after. It is based after their songs, by the way.
Oh,
Anyway.
okay.
Mm-mm.
That's really interesting. And also, it says
yeah,
here that it's in the time of martial law.
Yeah.
like a lot, I could see that a lot of our literary works turned into musicals and movies are actually set in martial law, because it is actually during those hard times that we create such amazing things. So while we're at it, we're going to be mentioning the Twitter poll. Have you guys seen any local plays or musicals during the pandemic? Of course, you guys have to go to our Twitter at Red Tiger Radio UST to go vote on there right now.
All right.
So shout
more.
out.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
sure.
go on, look. So
I
let's
apologize.
just give a quick shout out before everything else. Shout out to Clarabelle, shout out to Bryce, shout out to Aries. Thank you so much for listening to our talk right now. And there's more in store later on.
Alrighty, now hopping into our song break and more with the music, here is a Trisket or a Tisket, a Tasket by the original cast of Ang Larawan the Musical. I apologize if I said that wrong. However, we're going to be hopping to a couple more OPM or Pinoy musics during the song break. Only on the station where you hear the roar, USD Tiger Radio.
All the good stuff is here.
USC Tiger Radio.
It's 8:45 a.m. and we're still here for TR Spotlight. So we're on our last talk point, sadly, but there's a lot more later on or the next day. So just stay tuned in Tiger Radio, you guys. So earlier we talked about the Philippine musicals you should catch up on while in quarantine, and I hope you learned a lot from us. What are your thoughts about this, Frey?
Of course. I personally did not have experience, like I've said earlier, acting in musical plays or theater. But with Luke here, or well, also known as Bryce, with Luke here that had his experience, in the theater world. It's just so amazing to have someone share his insights like that, as an avid fan of theater as well. His excitement transcended onto me. Did that also transcend into you, Luna?
Yeah, actually, whenever I watch musical plays, even if it's just in school plays or anywhere at all, I feel like I'm in another world because artists or thespians, correct me if I'm wrong, thespians are very, very talented. And I really admire them for bringing that game face on stage. And they can really give you that feeling. They can really give you that emotion that you're trying to find on a specific play. How about you, Bryce? I mean, Luke, rather. What are your thoughts? What do you think how it feels to be in a musical play since you're a artist yourself?
I wouldn't exactly call myself an artist by the professional terms because I am getting there. However, I think that the Philippine musical and theater scene is extremely captivating. It's something that I recommend a lot of people indulge in themselves, whether there's a local play playing within your area or something you can watch online legally. Please make sure to check it out. And for the musicals we mentioned, I believe a couple of them, or at least if not all of them, their soundtracks are on Spotify or elsewhere on YouTube. There are many live performances of it available on YouTube, like where the cast have sung on talk shows. I recommend you check them out, and maybe that will integrate your help you integrate yourself into the Philippine musical theater world. Anyways, as we say goodbye, is there anything Frey or Luna that you guys want to say? Luna.
Actually, I just want to say that while I'm listening to our talk, I'm also learning because, as I've said, I'm not really much of a fan of theater. And now that I've heard our talk today, I really got interested, especially to Mula sa Buwan because it's about a catfish story about Cyrano, Christian, and Roxanne. Like, I'm really interested to watch that, and I hope I get the chance. How about you, Frey?
Of course, me too, Luna. I have not had the chance to experience a lot of the musical theater shows that we had while before the pandemic, but now I really do hope we get back to normal and we experience these shows live, because like we've also said earlier, these are better experienced live. But we have to just take in what we can right now. And since they are being uploaded on YouTube and their soundtracks are on Spotify, let's make the most out of that.
Mm-mm. Well said, well said. Unfortunately, guys, that marks the end of our show. Thank you so much for joining us for our 19. No, it hasn't been 19 anymore. There's 24 viewers. Wow, that's a huge update, and I appreciate everyone for joining us. I welcome everyone to check it out and to tune into other shows on mixer.com/US Tiger Radio. Now, I would like to extend my appreciation again for everyone, for our listeners, for everyone who answered the social poll. Apparently, a lot of people have said no to the question, so I apologize that you guys weren't able to see more. But the sun will rise on us again, and we will be able to check out a lot of these musical theater scene in person next time. All right, so let's just stay safe. Make sure we stay inside as much as we can if we have to, and we are going to go on a little song break before we stop our airing. So only on the station where you hear the roar, UST Tiger Radio.
Bye, you guys.
The good stuff is here.
USC Tiger Radio.